from patreon.com/Jobble. Forward links. I've spoken on this page before about backlinks. That's when another person's website links to yours, and it's the important metric. Well, it's one of the important metrics that helps Google decide where your site should rank in terms of search results pages. There's a lot of focus on backlinks in the search engine optimization kind of world. Since those backlinks play an important role in your rankings position, everyone just focuses on backlinks. And we don't really talk about the other types of links that make up the World Wide Web, which really is a collection of things linking to each other. The other side of backlinks is you link into things. That might be pages on your own website, or you might be linking off to someone else's website. But both types of links, whether those are internal ones to other pages on your site or external ones to other people's websites, both of them have value, both in terms of visitors to your website and search engines. Really, I'm going to try and keep the focus on providing value to the visitors to your website, because ultimately that's what results in good search engine performance, I'm pretty convinced. So we're looking at my website here, Jobble.com, which really I could do with making a bit more snazzy looking, I think, but in any case, your website probably has pretty similar stuff to this on. We've got a list of links along the top about services, and then we've got bigger links on the homepage, services and prices, examples, contact page. And then we've got a load of text underneath that, and that text has got links in. So on my website, you can spot the links in the text because they're colored purple and they've got an underline on them. And these links, if I click through them, take me to other pages on my website, or they might take you to somewhere else entirely, like my source code repository. Probably when you edit your website, you use some sort of text editor, and it probably has the ability for you to add these links relatively straightforwardly. And if I'm hosting your website and you don't know how to do that, ask her and I'll explain how you can add a link through the text editor as well. So let's talk about the links that are on my homepage here to explain a bit about them. And some of this is going to feel very redundant, but bear with me. So here we say, I'm just going to read out loud here. I'm Steph, a web and software developer for around 20 years, based in Prestwich, Manchester. I can help you succeed online by demystifying websites, hosting, online marketing, and tech in general. Everything I do is released as open source. Here's my source code. And then we get to the first link. Here's my source code. And it's linking off to the place where the person who's viewing my website can view that actual source code. And that might seem counterintuitive to you if you've got a really strict kind of marketing head on. Because linking someone away to my source code, there's not any buy buttons on my source code. There's no way for them to buy anything from there. And strict kind of marketing speak would say that you should just try and funnel everyone towards somewhere where they can buy things all of the time. I'm not convinced by that. I think it's kind of obvious to visitors when you're really forcing them to just look at buy buttons. And I think there's a lot of benefits to instead being open with your visitors and saying, here's how you can learn as much as you possibly can about the subject that you're interested in, which is hopefully my services. And in the context of that, I'll also be explaining why you might want to pick me to provide those services to you. On the next paragraph here, I have very transparent and honest pricing. And that's also a link which clicks through to my prices page. So that's keeping the person on my site, taking them directly to the place where they can learn about prices. So you see what we're doing here is, in the place where we're mentioning some aspect of our business, whether that's source code or prices, or in the next paragraph I write guides about building websites, and that's a link through to the guides, which there's only 2 of. I should probably add some more. And what we're doing is, at the point when the visitor is already kind of engaged with our services, as in that they're reading the text on our website, and you mention something that they might be more interested in, then you provide the link so they don't have to then search around on your website to say, where's the prices page? Where's the source code page? They're already looking directly at the link, and it's kind of obvious because it's purple and it's got this underline on. It looks like a link. I see a lot of websites that kind of miss this. The text kind of describes what they get up to. But then if you've read the text and you're interested, you've then got to take yourself out of the text and click around on the website and try and find that thing that you were just reading about, which is kind of frustrating user experience. And even if they don't directly find it frustrating, they might not be able to succeed at it. Hopefully your website navigation is pretty straightforward, but there's a chance that they might read about a category and then you've named it something else somewhere else on your site, and they can't find the product that they're interested in, even though they're sure that you do it because they read it on another page on your site. But whereas if you just link them from one place on your site to another place on your website, they would have clicked the link and they'd already be on the spot where they could learn more about the service that they were interested in. So I'm going to click through to an example of a page on my website that I was just recently editing. This is an example page on my website for websites that I've made. And this one is for a tabletop role-playing game company that my wife runs. And you see here, we've got a tech specs section. And in here, I'm describing the aspects of this website. Because this page is targeting two types of visitors. It's targeting people who might want me to make them a very similar website. But it's also targeting people who just want to learn about the process of making a website for a role-playing games company. The people who want to learn about it and make it themselves were never going to be my customer anyway, because they want to do it themselves. But if I can provide a useful service there, there's other aspects of my business that they might be interested in. You know, they might not use me for the website build, but they might employ me as a consultant down the line when they've made their own website themselves following my guide. Or they might not ever pay for any services from me, but they might link to my website because it was useful. So anyway, back onto these tech specs. I'm describing it's an Eleventy website, and at the Eleventy section, I click through and I've got a page here that talks about how I can build Eleventy websites. But right next to that, I also link to eleventy.dev, which is the actual website for the platform that I use, Eleventy. So we've got two links here. One of them taking them off entirely to a different website where they might never come back to me and we might lose them as a visitor. And another one that's taking them through to a page on my site where they might want to employ me. Both of those I think are perfectly fine. Some people would say never ever link to an external website because once they've clicked away from your website, they might never come back. That's true, but I think it's more valuable to have that through traffic be part of the overall mix of the people who visit your website, compared to hyper-focusing on only the profit funnel. We're playing a long game here, where aside from just the direct traffic of people who know that they want to buy a service that you offer, we also want to get some of the people who are passing through and are learning about the service in question. And we can get some of those customers by being a useful resource that they can rely on. So I hope I've convinced you here a little bit that you should add links to the text of your website. But it brings me to a problem that the second half of this post is going to be talking about, which is broken links. As you're building up these links, whether those are from one page of your site to another, or from your website to someone else's website, you're building a big long list there of potential places for a link to break. Now, what does it mean for a link to break? Basically, it means that I click on a link and I don't see the thing that I expected to see when I click through. That could be for 1,000 reasons. It could be that the person's website expired or the business has shut up shop, so they don't host a website anymore. It could be that they just changed the file name of the page that they were going to land on. Like if I go to my services page here, it's chobble.com/services, but it could quite easily be chobble.com/products. And I might change it from services to products at some point and then not really think about all those people who were linking to my earlier page. So the links that you've got on your website can end up going out of date. It's a kind of negative experience when someone clicks a link on your site and it goes off to an external website that's now broken. But it's worse, I think, when they were clicked an internal link and it goes to a page on your website that no longer exists, because that implies that you haven't kept your website up to date. And it also implies that maybe you don't do the service that they just read about on your website and it kind of implied that you did. So fixing those internal links that are broken, I think, is very important. And then fixing the external links that go to other people's websites, I think, is also pretty important, but not quite as important as having all of the internal links always working. There's a service that I've used that's really good for finding these. It's called drlinkcheck.com. drlinkcheck.com. Really straightforward. It pops up with a search box like this and you type your website address in. So I'll put chobble.com and it immediately starts searching through the links on your website and following each of them. And for each one that it follows, if it's also on your website domain, it'll follow all the links that it can find from that as well. So gradually it kind of spiders out over your whole website and checks every single link that it can find to see if any of them are pointing to pages that no longer work anymore. So my website is a kind of a strange example here because I've got git.chobble.com, which is a source code repository, and Dr. Link Check kind of gets a bit stuck searching in there. So I'm going to do a search on another website that will finish a bit faster and give you some proper examples. So you can click the plus in the top left to look for another website. And here I'm going to search for This and That Cafe, the Indian curry cafe that I help with the website that I highly recommend. And then I click Create Project, and Dr. Link Check immediately starts scanning the links on the This and That Cafe website as well. So you'll see on the left-hand side here, and in the middle now, we've got links with issues too, and I can click that. And it brings up the links that are no longer working for This and That. And there's way more than 2 now. And you'll see that these are mostly pages from the review section or the news section of the this and that website. You see it says news here and news here. This is kind of normal because news posts and news websites are particularly bad at keeping their rules up to date. I think that's because news sites are all about what's current, and so there's not really any value to them in maintaining old pages. Slightly different from e-commerce websites where the link might exist for years. And now if I go back to my overview, I can see that it stopped scanning and it's found 12 total links with issues, which were those ones that I saw before. And now it says where it's linked from. And for each of these, I want to ideally click through to the place where it says it's linked from and then fix the broken link. So here I'm guessing it's source. And we can see here as well, it's also mentioned images that are broken, because I was trying to embed an image from someone else's website and now it no longer works. So it seems like this website has gone offline altogether. So there should have been an image at the top of here and it's no longer displaying because the website has gone offline. So yeah, using Dr. Link Check makes it really easy to go over the links on your website and make sure that none of them are broken, which adds to the user experience, makes it less frustrating to use. And that's the name of the game, really. It's all about providing more value to the visitors, which means that the links that are in the content of your site should, at the point when the person is reading about a service, make it really easy for them to click and read more about it from diving deeper into your website. Okay, I hope this post has been useful. I apologize for it being delayed. I recorded it last week, and I had a super couple of busy weekends, and I recorded this last week, and then I got around to finally editing it today and found that the audio was terrible, so I needed to start all over again. And in my previous video, I did a whole section about a browser extension that I found that I thought was pretty cool, and then Dr. Link Check actually is way better than the browser extension, so all that work was totally wasted. Anyway, I'm going to try and record another Patreon video in quick succession, and hopefully another one pretty soon after that to kind of catch up a bit with the pace that I wanted to keep up. Anyway, enough explaining. I hope this was useful. As always, any questions, please drop me a message, or any ideas for future videos. I'm always keen for your suggestions. All right, take care.